Pauline Cutting is a surgeon. In 1987, she went to Lebanon and worked in the refugee camps on behalf of the Medical Aid for Palestinians charity. She gained a worldwide reputation for her bravery and for her commitment to the Palestinians.
I will never be anything other than a British doctor. I don't feel I'm a campaigner, but I do feel that as a doctor, it is part of my job to try and improve healthcare for people in a very general sense. I believe that's part of the work of doctors. And I believe that the Palestinians, because of what has happened to them historically, and I learned it first in Lebanon, seeing how life is in a refugee camp during war and the health consequences of that. And one of the ways I can work as a doctor to improve their circumstances and their health care is to tell about the circumstances in which they live and why that is and how they got there.
In the summer of 1991, Pauline Cutting spent 6 days working and traveling in Gaza, the narrow strip of land on the Mediterranean coast by the Egypt-Israel border, which after a history of occupation has been controlled by the Israeli Defense Force since 1967.
Gaza is a suffocating place, even for foreigners. It's very crowded, one of the most densely populated areas in the world. It's a small area, about 40 kilometres by 8, housing about 800,000 people. There's nowhere to go really to relax. The majority of the population live in refugee camps. I feel Gaza's a rather desperate place, especially for the people that live there all the time, who can't get out. Yusuf al-Mashal is a Palestinian who lives in Beach Camp, one of Gaza's 8 refugee camps, with his wife and 11 children. He's preparing to go into hospital for a routine hernia operation. Yusuf is 57 years old. He used to be a fisherman, but he's been unemployed for 12 years.
هات الكوباية وهات الصابونة والمعلقة والصحن.
كمان ضيلي شاي؟
I'm heading for the Ahli Arab Hospital in the centre of Gaza City, which is where Palestinians like Yusuf go for medical treatment, and where I worked for 6 months last year. I'm only here in Gaza for 6 days, and during this time I want to find out how things are going, both for the doctors and the patients in the hospital, and to do anything I can to help out. I also hope to go out of Gaza City to look at other medical projects and visit some of my old patients living in the refugee camps.
مع السلامة. 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 إن شاء الله بترجع بالسلامة. إن شاء الله. الله بترجع بالسلامة وهداك الله. مع السلامة. مع السلامة. يلا. السلام عليكم. مع السلامة.
Ahli Arab Hospital is run by the Anglican Church with support by voluntary donations. It's a small general hospital, and it's the only one in Gaza which is not administered by the Israelis, so the Palestinians really regard it as their own. Although the level of medical expertise is high, the hospital is underfunded and understaffed, so that there is always the need for foreign volunteers. ايش بس؟ بتدخن انت؟
بدخن.
كثير بتدخن؟
كثير؟
والله كنت ادخن كثير.
من زمان؟
زمان 40 سنة بدخن.
خذ نفس. نعم مزبوط. كنت بشوف الأوباك. Could you ask him to cough?
روح كمان مرة يا حاج.
اوكي. كل يوم
بس صعب منه لما يبوظ شوي. الله يسلمك.
The Gaza Strip has been under occupation by the IDF, Israeli Defense Force, for over 20 years. 4 years ago, the Palestinian protests known as the Intifada or uprising began in Gaza and spread throughout the occupied territories. Every day, Palestinians put up makeshift roadblocks to try to stop the soldiers from coming into their camps. There are daily arrests, usually for alleged stone throwing, which can result in internment without trial in a prison or a prison camp. Palestinians all carry identity cards without which they risk arrest, and so, to get the roadblocks cleared, the soldiers stop passing Palestinians and take their cards until all the stones are cleared. After all these years of hardship under military occupation, there are inevitable health consequences for the community, affecting all aspects of their well-being. There are the diseases of poverty, a high infant mortality, and stress-related diseases, and the burden of injury and disability. The responsibility of those who care for this community is very great. I first met Beryl Dell Saunders, who's the director of the Ahli Arab Hospital, when she was working in a hospital in Lebanon.
It's a very sad place, I find, to work in because of the situation of the Palestinians. And this is very distressing to them, it's distressing to the staff who work here, and we feel impotent to do very much about it. So we just have to exist as best we can. From my own point of view, I'm running the hospital and trying to make the best use of the resources to run it as smoothly as possible. In an occupied territory, that's very difficult.
The hospital is poorly equipped compared to a Western hospital. The number of daily operations varies. There are the routine operations like hernias and gallbladders, and then there are the emergencies, mostly resulting from the confrontation of the Intifada, the bruises, the fractures, and of course the gunshot wounds. When I was here last year, there wasn't a single day when we didn't treat a gunshot victim at the hospital. And on some days there were mass casualties, 50, 100, occasionally more. Are there many Intifada victims now?
Well, we get all the Intifada victims who were damaged earlier, who were wounded earlier and so on, and they come to us and they carry on with their treatment.
Yes.
Because, of course, some of them were terribly ill,
Yes.
as you know.
Yes.
Many of them are doing nicely.
While he's waiting for his operation, Yusuf's family has come to visit him. كيف صحتك؟
الحمد لله كويس.
كل شيء تمام، عملت فحوصات؟
عملوا
صورة
فحوصات
صدرك؟
كل شيء تمام.
طيب دكتور هاني فحصت صدرك؟
حطوا لي على الأشعة.
Yusuf's wife showed me some bruises on her wrists.
خذوا اليهود سجنوا.
من أيمتى؟
له 9 أيام.
9 أيام.
من أول 9 سعيد
شكرا
شو خذوا في الدار وإحنا نشاطين خلوا دخيل الله تسيبوا دخيل الله تسيبوا وما يفرشوا في إيدي وين ما يسمع شوف من 9 أيام أول يوم ما جيته وعاد ياخذ يلو في إيدي هيك ما شاء الله تخلي ما شاء الله تخلي وأنا شخبط في إيدي يصدق
prevent them from taking them.
بعد ما يشدوا نستفيد ودعنا على الحين وأنا فيه
أسمة
الصفر ودونا على المستشفى أعطونا
في الليل يعني المستشفى
النهار صفر الشمس الساعة 7:30 وما شافوا فيه كل الدم هذا صار ينزل دم ضيق هي 9 يوم لين هي اخرته هذا هي راح
It's bruising under the skin, but it will go away in
It's
another.
from the pressure.
Yeah, it's from this. Whenever you drive anywhere in the Gaza Strip, there's an underlying feeling of tension. You never know when or where the next clash between Israelis and Palestinians will be, and there's always the slight worry that you might get caught in the middle of it.
Tell us what's happening, Pauline. Pauline, can you tell us what's happening?
They're taunting the soldiers. They're taunting the soldiers. This is a very common and daily occurrence. Palestinian young men and boys putting up barricades of stones, burning tyres, taunting soldiers and throwing stones. And the Israelis responding by charging in, heavily armed, looking for the boys who usually scatter and hide as fast as they can. During these confrontations, Palestinians are sometimes shot. The weapons that the soldiers carry fire tear gas, rubber bullets, which are rubber-coated metal cylinders and spheres, and plastic bullets, and then conventional metal bullets, low velocity and high velocity. All over the walls of the hospital, as everywhere else in Gaza, you can see slogans painted with spray cans, painted out and repainted. It's forbidden by the Israelis, and the young masked men run considerable risk if they're caught. It's a sort of daily newspaper trying to keep up morale. It announces strike days and other political activities, and also deaths and internments as a result of the Intifada.
He was in prison and was beaten by soldiers.
Oh, yes,
He
it's
has
got
this maybe a fracture or something.
Yeah.
And he has stones in the right kidney. So we'll do right. The kidney looks non-functioning, so we'll do right integrate today.
Jabalia is the largest of the 8 refugee camps in Gaza, housing about 55,000 Palestinians. It was the birthplace of the Intifada, which began here in December 1987, after 4 Palestinians were killed, and the subsequent demonstrations and campaign of civil disobedience rapidly spread throughout Gaza and the West Bank. Jabalia is fairly typical. It's crowded, noisy, poor sanitation, and mostly open sewers. Jabalia is still the scene of many demonstrations. Houses have been demolished here to widen the roads to allow tanks to enter. I recognize this young boy. He was a patient last year after he was shot in the leg by rubber bullets.
كان 3 ايوه هاي جلد جديد ها يا جلد جديد يعني من فوق فاهمين سلامتك
I'm going to see a patient called Salah in his home here. I assisted in his initial operation in April last year. He was shot when there was a confrontation when soldiers surrounded the mosque. A lot of people were shot. I think at the hospital we received about 100 wounded in the space of half an hour. I'm especially interested in how Salah got on because he was badly wounded with a bullet in the chest and one in the neck, which severed one of the major blood vessels.
افتح سلام. تفضل يا ابوي.
ممكن بشوف جرة؟
بشوف.
ايوه هاي من رصاصة بتحس شي في ايدك؟
لما حط ايدي هيك على الجرح بصير هاي بوجعني اللحم.
هان بس في شي في ايدك؟
الايد يعني شوي هيك بقدرش اشد فيها كثير.
ايوه
كثير يعني هيك قوة ما فيش شي.
بس يعني
شوي هيك. اما بالقوة كثير
ما بتحس كهرباء وشي؟
لا بس وجع خفيف فيه.
ايوه
اكثر الوجع هان.
خد نفس.
I'm pleased to see that Salah is well recovered and quite fit. He complains still of pain surrounding the shrapnel from the bullet in his chest, and he's not back at work. He lost his job making mosaics following this injury. But he seems otherwise well recovered, considering the severity of his initial injuries.
هان في المنطقة
هان بس في الإيدك؟
في اليد هذه لما اسحب حاجه كثير هيك بقدرش بحس انا بصير وجع
بتحس عادي
نم
يا اي دكتور بده اعمل عمليه لشظيه دكتور بده يعمل اشيله يعني
يا ريت يشيل لي اياه يسوي بس هذا الدكاتره اللي هنا عندنا بده يقص هيك ويقيم اللحم بدوش يفتش بشويش يقيم بس الحديد يقيم كمان اللحم يسوي اكثر يعني اذا الحين انا بقدر احرك شويه لما يقيم لهذا ما اقدرش اعمل حاجه.
An entire generation of Palestinians has lived under occupation, so many of the traditions and customs here have been difficult to maintain. During the few days I'm in Gaza, I want to see how things have changed by visiting not only the camps and the medical services, but some out-of-the-way places. Gaza has always been famous for its gold, and the souk or market is a friendly place which for me still has the flavour of old Gaza. But it's hard to get away from the daily events of the occupation, as I found when I got back to the hospital. The Israeli soldiers have arrested a boy from just inside the hospital grounds, and the director of the hospital, Beryl Saunders, is walking down to the gate to ask the Israeli soldiers not to enter the hospital, although I understand that she was too late to prevent the arrest of the boy. The people standing around said that the IDF, the Israeli Defense Force soldiers, put him in the back of the jeep and jumped in on him and kicked him.
They took him from inside the hospital. He wasn't throwing stones, he wasn't doing anything.
He was standing here and they just took him. I wonder how they take just anyone they face, they take him away and they hit him. He told me about 10 10 soldiers were hitting him. And then when he told them that he didn't do anything, they threw on him stone.
They came in twice while I was here last year to take patients, and they arrested one from the operating table.
This can be an alarming situation because the IDF does come in large numbers with very many soldiers, many officers, with police, intelligence police, with many vehicles,
yes,
all heavily armed. And this can cause a lot of confusion if they go into the emergency room, if they go into the operating room, the ICU, or anywhere else where they're able to do this.
Yes. It's not only in the Ahli Arab Hospital that such incidents occur. I went to the UNRWA clinic, UNRWA being the United Nations Relief and Works Agency, to see the UNRWA spokesman for Gaza. His name is Hashim Abu Sidr, and I asked him if he had had similar problems at the clinic.
And in fact, any stone thrown in the area on any military patrol passing by, whether from or from any area around the health center, would cause soldiers to enter the health center, even though they are warned at every instance that this is a health center and there are nobody in here except women bringing the children for follow-up, for check. And the worst happened on the 12th of June 1990, when a passing military patrol was stoned from outside the clinic. But they stopped in front of the gate, and they even went inside the clinic looking for any suspects, anybody who could throw a stone. And when they found nobody, they went outside. The officer went to his jeep, and then he threw a hand grenade over the wall into a yard, a tear gas grenade, into the yard in which there were hundreds of women, literally hundreds of women with their babies. And at that time, as a result of the tear gas exposure, we had to take about 65 children to hospital for treatment for exposure to tear gas. And that day we also had 2 miscarriages reported.
Oh, yes.
The following morning, another 2 were reported.
From the women that were in
From
the
the
clinic.
women who were in the clinic.
Can UNRWA protest about these? Have there been
Well,
other
yes.
entries to clinics? Can they protest
We
in any way?
We do protest every single incident where soldiers violate under premises, because we're covered by the United Nations the Convention on the immunities and privileges of United Nations premises and staff.
How many incidents do you think of interference with UNRWA clinics and staff have there been in these, for example, during the Intifada?
Well, I can say now for our report, for instance, from June 1989 till the end of June 1990, we've recorded over 550 cases.
Being a doctor, it's difficult for me to accept a situation where soldiers come into a hospital or clinic and arrest people. Hospitals are supposed to be neutral. Elias Tarazi is 53 years old and works in the kitchens at the Ahli Arab Hospital. He told me what he says happened when the army came looking for his son Khadr 3 years ago.
راح الجيش دور عليه فتش وكسر الباب وضرب المرأة اللي في الدار، مرأة عجوز ضربها عشان صارت تفزع للولد، ومسكوا وصاروا يضربوا فيه. الضابط قال للعساكر اضربوا ضرب عليه. في واحد بيعرف يحكي عبراني، شاب واقف، سمع بيقول الضابط اضربوا عليه لما تخلصوا عليه. صاروا يضربوا عليه بالعصي على راسه، يضربوا عليه ويضربوه هنا في محاشمه لحد ما وقع على الارض. كل ما يوقع على الارض يرفعوه ويضربوه. صار ينزل الدم منه. ضربوا المرأة اللي في البيت وبعدين ركبوه في الجب وصاروا يمشوا في شارع عمر المختار في الجب ويفرجوا الناس عشان الناس تاخذ عبرة، يعني انه يخافوا انه هذا الشخص احنا ضربناه. تمهم يضربوا فيه وصاروا يفكروا وين بدهم يودوه لحد الولد ما غمي، فقد الوعي مش صاحي من الضربات. ضربات هنا هذه كانت مبهورة كلها، وضربات هنا وهنا ضربوه في محاشمه، وهم بيفكروا وين بدهم يودوه الولد، مش عارفين وين يودوه، بدهم يرموه في نتفة مش عارفين. صار الشعب يجري وراهم ويرجم عليهم احجار ويقول لهم ليش بتعملوا هيك كده، ويشردوا من الناس ويروحوا عند الغابة عند الأحراش بدهم يرموه، يلاقوا ناس. بعدين راحوا على الأنصار ودخلوا في الأنصار ورموه هناك في الخيمة.
بدي أعرف كيف أنت سمعت ابنك استشهد؟
سمعت يوم الأربعاء، أخذوه يوم الاثنين بس ما زدريتش اليوم الأربعاء. الحاكم حكى للعيلة تاعتنا لعيلة الطرزي إنه ابني هو ميت استشهد. هم أجوا حكوا لي، يعني عرفت الخبر يوم الأربعاء.
شفتوا بعد هو استشهد؟ شفتوا أنت؟
لما جابوه شفته، جبناه على البيت.
كيف يعني؟ كيف كان؟
كان هو يعني ضاربينه ضرب كتير على راسه. هنا في النتفة هذه مخروقة. ومضروب هنا في الجمجمة، وكان العمود الفقري مكسور. شافوه دكاترة أجت عنا وقفوا وشافوه وهو عريان. وشافوا أنه ضربات عنده كتيرة بآلة حديدية.
Sadly, such incidents are not unique. A third of all those injured are below the age of 16.
The case of a 9-year-old boy who was taken early in February or late February in 1989 to a building which was taken by the army. He was kept inside for a few hours, all the time hanging, tied by the hands and hanging to the ceiling, beaten all the time. And when he was dumped outside, it was found that he had 2 fractured wrists, one the dislocated elbow joint and a dislocated shoulder with bruises covering all his body.
I feel some sense of guilt about the plight of the Palestinians. The whole life there is extremely difficult, and then on top of that, which of course I was familiar with when I was working there, which was because it was part of my job, was dealing with the injuries. People being shot or beaten up, so families experiencing bereavement, caring for an injured relative. So when I'm here and life is very easy, I have some residual guilt when I know that elsewhere life is extremely hard for people that I've... Hamid Joda is 19 years old. He was shot 3 months ago. Was it one bullet that went in and out through, in through the front and out through the sacrum?
Yes, one bullet with shrapnel.
Yeah.
A kind of shrapnel bullet.
Was it, so it had fragments? Lots of fragments.
Yes.
It was a metal bullet, yeah.
Yes.
He's got some ongoing osteomyelitis. Yeah, I saw when we were in Lebanon, we had a patient exactly the same. A bullet that went through the rectum and the sacrum. He also got osteomyelitis. Bone feels all right, actually. The hope is that the osteomyelitis, or bone infection, will dry up and heal without the need for another operation. And then he will be able to have his colostomy closed and his intestines reconstructed. But if it doesn't heal, then the sacrum, or base of the spine, may need further surgery to remove the infected bone. So the plan is now to wait until it dries up, if it's drying up.
The drainage of the bone, and after that we'll think to do revision of
colostomy. Yeah.
Yes. But if it's still drainage from there, we have to do wide excision and curettage. Yes.
Is it right that he was arrested the other night? Is that right?
Yes, I heard yesterday. I think prison.
No, he's not fit to be in prison. Just around the corner from the hospital, there's a mosque. The Islamic faith arrived in Gaza 1,300 years ago. The minaret of the mosque stands next to the dome of the Greek Orthodox Church in this old area of the city. The church is thought to be the oldest of its kind in the world, dating from the 5th century AD, and is still in remarkable condition. religion here, in spite of the occupation. The Christian community has been here at least as long as the church, though its numbers have dwindled. As far as I know, there are about 4,000 Christian worshippers in the population of 800,000. In Nusayrat refugee camp, they are building a new mosque. It's a community activity. It's as if the Palestinians here are making their own collective expression of solidarity and identity and pride in their roots and traditions. It's supervised by the local imam, who is not only a religious and spiritual leader, but on this occasion a building site foreman. Come to Nusayrat camp with two colleagues from Ahli Arab Hospital is to see a patient who very nearly died from a high-velocity bullet injury of his abdomen just under a year ago. It damaged his intestines, several major blood vessels, and the nervous system. He was only saved by the skill of the surgeons and against all the odds. His name is Mohammed, he's 42 years old, and he has 9 children. Ask him, what specific problems does he have now? He mentioned pain in the back. Is it across his back or one side?
انت بيجعك ظهرك يا محمد في جهة واحدة ولا بس يعني قصدي في الجهة اليمين ولا شمال ولا في نص ظهرك؟
في الوسط في وسط ظهره.
In the middle.
طب إذا ممكن بس تقولنا عشان نفرجيه نشوف الجرح كيف صار عندك.
مرتاح هو صار.
ريح عليك على المخدة انت عشان نفحصك كويس. لا خلي راسك هناك انت. عشان يكون اسهل لنا.
تشوف بطنك.
شوف على بطنك هنا. اكشف عن بطنك انت ايوه.
But he looks quite well now. Was he very thin?
Yeah. He lost a lot of kilograms a year.
لا مش كثير.
بالجخ. كمان. He mentioned that he had some numbness in his leg. Can he show me where exactly?
سحلنا البنطلون شوي.
ممكن. أيوة هيك. كسي.
وين بصير خذلان بالضبط؟
هنا كله من هنا هذا. هذا كله خذلان في رجلي من هنا.
Can you ask him just to lift his foot up like that?
خليه زي.
Yeah. And this one is. خليه لفوق. It's weaker, a bit weaker. Can he bend his knee? عفواً.
اثنين رجله.
Okay.
بالنسبة هنا في محل الجرح هذا.
ايوه.
دائما زي شيء بنخزني.
بنخزك.
هذا دائما بنخزني.
What's that exactly? He feels something in the wound.
Yes, some burning in the wound.
Yeah, that will go with time. He's got a small incisional hernia, actually.
Yes, I saw.
But
you know,
that's not surprising.
Because of infection, it is
Yeah,
surprising.
exactly. Not surprising at all.
To has a hernia.
Okay, طيب.
في شيء ثاني متعبك كمان؟
بالنسبة قلت لها بالنسبة للحالة الجنسية اللي عندنا. شرحت. بالنسبة أنا يعني بخلف الوقت بخلفش.
After anybody has been so seriously injured and so ill, in the convalescent period, they can be impotent. So you should tell him that it may just be because he was very ill, and to wait and see because, but it could well be that he has. It's because of his nerve injury, his lumbar and sacral plexus injury. This is my 4th day here, and I've come to the southernmost part of the Gaza Strip. It's about an hour's journey from Gaza City. This refugee camp is known as Swedish Village because Swedish United Nations soldiers gave aid to the few original inhabitants 40 years ago. This is a place few people know about, and it doesn't appear on the map. It is in an extremely sensitive location on the border of Egypt and Israel. The community exists on boat building and some fishing, but the prospects for employment are very limited. Fishing is restricted and can be a dangerous activity, being so close to the Israeli-Egyptian border. A lot of the agricultural land all around the village has been taken over by the Israelis in order to build settlements for their community, like the white houses on the hill opposite. I'm here with Dr. Iyad Al-Sarraj, Gaza's leading psychiatrist. It's his first visit to the Swedish Village. He's here with a colleague who has been treating some of the patients. We always hope that the physical wounds will heal, but what is more difficult to cope with is the mental damage they may leave behind. This man is a boat builder. We are told that he's in his late 60s and he has 10 children. His 24-year-old son, Abdul, has had severe behavioral problems following a head injury.
ايش القصة تاعتك بالضبط؟ سمعت انك تصور.
القصة تبعتي كنت بالبحر. سير على البحر بحسكة. طلعت البار كنت عازم الغزل بشي. طلعت بالبار. لقيت الجيش زي ما تقول محاصر المنطقة وبلشوا طخ على طول. في واحد ما يستشهد وبعديك انا ما دريتش ايش صار معي بالضبط.
طب انت وقتاش صار الكلام هذا؟
بالضبط يمكن بال 86.
86؟
الله اعلم.
وايش كنت بتسوي في البحر؟ كنت بتتصيد يعني؟
كنت صيد.
طب الرصاصة خشت في الراس جوا؟
الرصاصة هي مبينة يعني ظاهرة الهواية هي. فيش عظم اصلا.
يعني الرصاصة كسرت العظم.
كسرت العظم طلعت.
لكن ما خشتش في راسك جوا.
لا الحمد لله ما طلعت.
الحمد لله. فيش شيء على ايديك على رجليك بتمشي طبيعي بتمسك شيء طبيعي؟
والله اوقات يعني في الصيف بالذات يعني يوم يمر سلام تقريبا ما فيش.
كيف؟
تجينا حالة عصبية بعديك ما بعلمش يعني عدة مرات يقولوا لي انت ضربت امك انت ضربت ابوك.
وين ابوك؟
ابوي في الدار.
انده عليه والله. خلينا نقعد معه شوي. I asked him to get his father, so you can ask him about him and about the general and the history of the place.
Did he say when he went to hospital, did he say how he got there? Does he know?
He doesn't remember anything.
No.
Yeah, it seems that he was in coma.
Yes. I wonder what's the first thing he remembers afterwards. Is it being back here or being in hospital? Did
he remembers being in the Tel Shomer hospital.
Does he? So he woke up there.
قديش لكم عايشين في المحل هذا؟
سنة 48 احنا.
من 48؟ اي نعم. من وين هجرتوا يا حاج؟
هجرنا من سدود.
من سدود؟
اي نعم.
ومن ال 48 انتوا قاعدين هنا؟
واحنا.
طب يعني في كثير من سدود هنا في المنطقة هذه؟
لا بس احنا وفي كمان عيلة اجت، أنا واخوتي يعني. وفي عيلة كمان اجت هنا.
When they actually left their town, what happened in their town that made them leave and
طب يا حاج
made them decide to come here?
لازم نتمشى
والله. الدكتورة بولين بتسأل بتقول ايش اللي خلاكوا تطلعوا من سدود؟
اللي خلانا نطلع من سدود أول حاجة مصر بعتنا بيع في عهد فاروق.
مصر أيام الملك فاروق.
أيام فاروق.
What he's saying is that we were betrayed by the Egyptian king Farouk at that time when he ordered the Egyptian army, which was supposed to protect the people of Sdoud from the Zionist aggression. But they were ordered to withdraw, the Egyptians. And then he said that we actually were fought by the British themselves. Because the British were here and they left us totally defenseless. And also they were at that time occupying Egypt, so they ordered the Egyptian army to pull out.
British.
and leave the place for the Jews.
So isolated.
So isolated that nobody actually, very few people know about it,
Yes.
about its existence. It is not in the statistics.
Yes.
I'm shocked at the level of deprivation in this place. And it's so miserable that I was really ashamed of myself. I feel guilty that I'm living here in a relative paradise. And these people are suffering so much. No clinic, no school, no ambulances. And you know, if somebody is very sick, they won't be able even to transfer him to a hospital. So this is really very, very shocking. And we must do something about it. I just cannot leave it like that.
What do you think?
First thing which came to my mind, that we should organize a group of specialists, that they should go there every month with the medicines, with the nurses, to look after the people who need help there.
The healthcare services in Gaza are basic, and there is a lack of specialist healthcare services for all sorts of diseases. For example, pediatric neurology. There's no pediatric neurologist in Gaza, so there are children with cerebral palsy diseases, which there are in every population, and other such diseases that have never ever been seen by a specialist and had a proper diagnosis made. And patients like these come to the hospital from time to time, perhaps late in their childhood, when they've never been properly diagnosed. So diseases that would here be diagnosed in infancy are neglected for years.
كيف حالك فراس؟ منيح؟ كيف صحتك؟ هاني قخ قح قح انت كمان
This little boy, called Faraz, is 6 years old. He has a congenital hernia and he's come to have it repaired.
So you can see it. قح كمان قح يلا ايوه كمان ايوه
Okay. It's a routine operation, and his family have come with him. I think everywhere parents like to accompany their children. The family unit here is very strong, and both parents have come here with Faraz to support him while he has his operation. He seems a very bright, cheeky little boy, full of life. What his future holds depends very much on what the future is for Gaza as a whole. Dr. Yazdi is a surgeon here who was chosen to be one of the Palestinian negotiators at the Middle East Conference. He has recently been released from detention at Ansar prison camp, where he was held for 8 months without any charge or trial. Dr. Yazdi's children have some handkerchiefs which were painted by a fellow prisoner. Dr. Yazdi asked him to make illustrations of prison life, and the handkerchiefs were smuggled out of Ansar. The prison camp is in the Negev desert, about 60 miles from Gaza, close to the border with Egypt. It's an isolated place, very cold at night and very hot by day. There are up to 5,000 prisoners at any one time, of which some 600 are administrative detainees like Dr. Yazdi, held without charge or trial.
كان هناك حالات كثيرة أقوم بمعاينتها عبر الأسلاك 4 متر بين القسم والثاني. كان علي أن أطلب من المريض أن يصف لي ماذا يعاني، ثم على سبيل المثال أن لديه مرض جلدي أو أي شيء أقول له اكشف عن جسمك، وذلك ممنوع أمام المعتقلين الآخرين. وريني هاي سكيبز، هاي تينيا، هاي أي حاجة تانية. كان ألم الأسنان، يظل المعتقل يترنح في القسم أكثر من 3 أيام يصرخ من ألم الأسنان ولا حياة لمن تنادي، لأن طبيب الأسنان كان يحضر كل 15 يوم وكانت له حاجات محددة. آلام الأسنان كان يعطى له حبة أكمول أو حبتين أكمول أو 3، إضافة إلى أمراض المعدة والبواسير نتيجة للظروف المناخية هناك، الحرارة الرهيبة جدا في النهار والبرد القارس في الليل سبب أمراض كثيرة. من الأشياء اللي أثرت فيها جدا أنه كمية الطعام كانت قليلة جدا، وحين سألت أحد المسؤولين لماذا هذا النوع من الطعام أخبرني بأنكم هنا فقط لنحافظ على حياتكم، لستم هنا في لوكاندا.
Faraz expressed a wish before he was anaesthetized to see Saddam Hussein while he was asleep. Some of the Palestinians here still regard Saddam Hussein as a potential savior. I personally find it a bit sad and a bit tragic that Faraz looks to Saddam Hussein as a sort of savior figure, and I think it reflects the desperation of the people here, that they don't see really anybody in the world who is prepared to act for them or fight for them or do something for them.
فراس فتح اشوف يلا مدد رجليك يلا مدد.
The operation on Faraz was successful, and I hope that he will grow up in an atmosphere of peace, and that his generation of young Palestinians will be healthy and proud with their own identity and will have freedom in their own country. But that, of course, will depend not on doctors like myself, but on the world politicians and the leaders of the Middle Eastern countries. For Faraz and thousands like him, tomorrow depends very much on today.
During Pauline Cutting's visit to Gaza for this film, she was told about 3 specific incidents arising from clashes between Palestinians and the Israeli Defense Force. The Israelis accept that a gas grenade fell within the grounds of the United Nations Relief and Works Agency Health Center. They say it happened after an Israeli patrol was confronted by a massive barrage of stones coming from inside the center. The soldier who threw the grenade ignored standing orders, and after an inquiry, the officer in charge was sentenced to 10 days imprisonment. The Israelis say that Hada Tarazi, the son of the hospital porter, was arrested by a patrol after it had come under heavy attack from stones, rocks and petrol bombs. They state he tried to escape from a moving jeep and hit his head, and that the soldiers in the jeep hit him with their batons. When he arrived at the detention center, he was again hit by a soldier whose weapon he tried to grab. After a military police investigation into his death, 3 soldiers and a doctor were tried for beating him. The doctor was found to be negligent in his examination of Tarazi and was reprimanded. The 4 men were not tried for manslaughter, as it could not be shown beyond doubt that the head wound from which he died had been caused by the soldiers. In the case of the 9-year-old boy whose injuries while in detention were described by the UNRWA representative, the Israelis say that they have not been given enough information to comment on the case.
I like the Palestinians in Gaza. I liked the way they met their difficulties with humour, with a remarkable lack of bitterness. I admired their fortitude, and I admired their professionalism. I'm thinking particularly of the doctors and nurses that I worked with in the hospital. They work under very difficult circumstances, and they care for their patients with a very high degree of professionalism and expertise, which I admired very much and was very pleased to work with them. And yes, I would like to go back and work with them again.